Welcome to the Lady Landlords podcast, where we empower women to gain financial independence through real estate investing. I'm your host, Becky Nova, founder of Lady Landlords. If you're ready to buy, manage, and grow your real estate portfolio, then let's get started. Our mission is to make one other woman's journey within real estate investing just that much more simple than our own was. Welcome to this week's Lady Landlords podcast. I am your host, the founder of Lady Landlords, Becky Nova. I really wanted to take this time now to just share a little bit about where even Lady Landlords came from and really what our mission is. We have only been an organization in place now for about 2 years, believe it or not even that long. And I am just seeing so many women be able to make amazing changes in their lives through real estate investing and through the community of Lady Landlords that I just wanted to give a little couple of shout outs and really just kind of celebrate how far our community has kind of come. So regardless of if you were one of the OGs in the group back when we started in March 2020, or if you are a newer member, hopefully hearing a little bit about the journey of our community will inspire you today to do something else to grow your real estate portfolio. So if you have not seen some of our earlier episodes, I talk about how real estate investing was something that I never even really planned on being a part of. What was really interesting was that I was the one that never wanted to own a home. I really did not think that ever living in one consistent place kind of made sense for me. I've lived in multiple different countries, and that is something that I continue to do. So to me, buying a house was the antithesis of that. That was making me stay in one place. I didn't want to do it. What I've now come to realize over time is that it's actually by buying real estate and having something settled that will actually afford for me to continue to travel the way that I want. So what ended up happening was back in 2018, my husband, Emilio, really wanted to buy property. I did not. But as we do in relationships, sometimes we compromise. So I said, fine, I am willing to buy a property, but we really have to find a way to be able to make money with that property and not just be living paycheck to paycheck to have to pay a mortgage over here in New York. So we started simply with a duplex. It was a house hack and place where we were able to live in one unit and rent out the other. This made a huge difference for us. Here in New York, the idea of being able to live for free or actually being able to get paid to live is absolutely unheard of. So this really automatically just changed what our wealth situation looked like right from the start. We got very, very lucky with that first property because I had no idea what I was doing. The reason for that was because this was not something I even planned on going in the direction of. So once now we were able to buy that first property, I was absolutely hit by the real estate investing bug. And I said, this is something we need to do again. I spent all of 2018 really just researching and learning and listening to all different types of podcasts and connecting with different service providers, realtors, mortgage brokers, anybody that I could talk to that was remotely related to real estate investing, I was doing. Any meetup that was related, I was going to. Any podcast about finance, real estate, I was listening to that every single day. But my problem was that I still felt that it wasn't giving me the answers of what I actually needed. It maybe talked about different stories of what people were doing, which were great and inspiring, but it wasn't really giving me the ideas of what I can do or an actual step of what would be next. So it was great to have this education, but I really couldn't be able to kind of put it forward. Also at that time, we were really growing our portfolio. We were able to buy another fourplex and a parking lot directly after that first duplex. We then ended up buying an apartment down in the Dominican Republic. We were able to buy then another duplex. And now all of a sudden I had all these tenants to manage. And no one really told me how to do that either. So even though there were certain things that I was able to figure out with the information that I was learning, I still felt that there were a lot of gaps. And then there were all these situations that came up that were just different, that was clearly never going to be in a guidebook. But I still needed help trying to figure out which way I should kind of go. And what I realized at that point in time was that I was really alone. I felt like it was only me. I definitely did not have anybody that I felt like I could ask those questions to, especially about being a landlord or the situations I had to deal with my tenants. And then even when it came to kind of growing your portfolio, even the connections that I made were not, they were all in it too. They weren't really there trying to help me be able to grow my portfolio because that's what they were trying to do themselves. So at that time, I really was not in my favorite place throughout my real estate investing journey. But all of a sudden, that got completely sidelined. That got completely sidelined by March of 2020. Now, what happened then was throughout that winter, feeling so lonely as I did, I decided to kind of start this little Facebook group called Lady Landlords. But to be honest, I was way too embarrassed to ever tell anybody about it. I did not think that anybody else was out there like me, a woman trying to grow their portfolio. So I just didn't tell anybody. But now, when March 2020 hit, things changed. At that point in time, my husband ended up losing his job. He came home and was like, Becky, I don't know what we're going to do. I lost my income. We're not going to have that coming into the household. Well, my response was, oh my God, we need to buy more property. My husband looked at me and was like, are you nuts? I just said we lost income. And I was like, yes, this is why we need to buy another rental property. And he just kind of like shook his head, thinking I was nuts. You listening to this might also be doing the same thing. But to me, it was the perfect opportunity to be able to pick up another income stream. I thought that made absolute sense. My husband disagreed. But I knew that there had to be somebody else out there that was thinking the same way that I did. And honestly, it was at that point in time that I said, you know what? I don't care. I don't care if this is going to be embarrassing or a total failure. You know what? I'm just going to give it a try and see if maybe I can just find just one other lady out there that possibly also realizes the power of real estate investing and the power of those extra income streams, especially in situations like this where people are losing their main source of income. So that's what I did. And then at that point in time, that's when you took over. You came into that group and have built it to the community that we see today. I am shocked every single morning when I wake up and see how many women are looking to join our community. Just so you know, I actually spend about the first hour of my day every morning just responding to members' requests. And that is really my hour of gratitude and appreciation to see that you are out there, that I am not alone, and that our community really is making a difference and changing lives. So do know that that is actually my favorite part of my morning, my favorite part of my day for that matter, but that's actually how I start my morning each day. But we have women that are really coming into this group that are continuing to grow it. And then as you see, all of our posts are really there and people can get the answers to the questions that they need. Like I said, one of my biggest issues was that I had all these tenant situations and I just somebody else to kind of bounce some ideas off and see which way that I should go. And I did not have that. Now we have almost 30,000 women within our community that are all there to be able to help you with your questions and to make sure that you get the answers that you need to run your portfolio, to manage your tenants, and to be able to grow your rental business as easy you can. Once again, my mission statement really just started simply as seeing if I can just help one other person. My journey was very lonely along the way, and I wanted to make sure that no other woman felt that exact same way. So I have been so excited to see so many members that now come back to the group saying, hey, I was able to buy my first property. Hey, I was able to do my first seller financing property. I was able to find something off market. It is so cool to me to be able to see all of these different journeys that so many of you are on. And I know that I don't even have like the tip of the iceberg on all of the stories of the women that have really found success and help and partnerships and realtors and vendors and whatever it else may be through our group. But I want you to know that I get messages all day long about somebody that was able to buy a property and they worked with a mortgage broker that they met in the group, or they were able to help somebody with a seller financing project that they were working on, or that they became a private lender or found a private lender through the group. So I just think it's so great to see the partnerships that you are making within that group and really getting the education that you need to go out there and really invest with confidence. So I just want to give a couple little shout outs to some of our women. I've actually highlighted them in our member spotlights. So if you've not listened to these women's episodes, do make sure to go back because they are absolutely fantastic. But I'm just going to kind of name a couple people here, but do know that every other week we highlight a member of the group, and those are their stories that we bring to you. These are actual lady landlords. They are women that you can actually find in the group, but I just want to give a couple little shout outs to people. So one of the women that actually joined our beginners group coaching program was Josie. Now, Josie came with an interesting situation where I'm going to name her our helper. Josie was the one that wanted to make sure that she was taking care of everybody else. She put other family members first before her own needs. And this is something that we as women tend to do very, very often. But Josie wanted to make sure that her family was taken care of. And when we were working together in the beginners group coaching course, we needed to make sure that Josie was able to set herself up for success first. Then she would be better enabled to be able to help her other family members. So this was something, if you've ever been on a plane and they always say, make sure to put your mask on first before being able to help others put their mask on. This was exactly the lesson that Josie was able to learn. And what was great was only about like 2 months after Josie took our beginners group coaching program that she was able to purchase her first property. So hopefully by now, as that's been a couple months, I hope Josie is actually onto her second property. She was looking into moving into the short-term rental world. So hopefully, Josie, you're listening to this, and we'll have to have you back on for another episode about your next newest property. Another shout I want to give is actually one of our most popular episodes that's listened to, and that is with Kat. Kat, I'm going to call the knowledge bucket. Kat is actually a realtor out in California. And what I love about Kat is that real estate investing was just something that she had her hands so close in being a realtor. She understood the buying, the selling, she understood the market, she understood the price. But there's just those little bit of tweaks that now we needed to be able to make to really get Kat to be able to enter that real estate investing world. When we have the knowledge, which so many of us do, it's really just that little step up in confidence that we need to be able to take action. And that's really what Kat was. She had the knowledge, but now we just had to kind of combine that with that mindset to be able to move forward. I know a lot of people are listening to this and are going to be in that situation of that analysis paralysis, right? We have that information, just like I was talking about back in 2019. I was listening to all these podcasts, but it didn't actually tell me what I should be doing, what were really the best steps for me. And I really got to know Kat very well as she did a Lady Landlords roadmap workshop with me. That roadmap workshop is a 3-hour session. So we really get to know each other intimately during that time and really get to work on the goals that you have, because your goals are different than everybody else. Also, your financial situation is different than everybody else. Your time commitment and who you are as a person is different. And that's what I realized was missing from the podcasts and the books and the meetups that I was going to. Was great. That gave me information about everybody else, but it didn't tell me what me, Becky, should do for my portfolio. So it was great to be able to work with Kat, and we definitely had a couple aha moments on that call. So do make sure to go back and listen to Kat's episode on the Lady Landlords podcast to hear what her aha moment is, as it might just help you too. Kat also actually has her first rental property as well, and she is still dealing with some flips that she was also involved in. So it's really kind of cool to see somebody that has their hands in a couple different real estate strategies. Next up, another story that I want to highlight is actually Krista. You can also listen to Krista's episode. We gave her a member spotlight earlier this year here in season 2 of our podcast. But Krista, I'm going to call the creative grower. Krista was in a situation where she was able to acquire properties, but it then became, well, how do I continue to grow? Cool, I can get the first one. Sometimes, and this might sound crazy, but I think sometimes the second property is actually more difficult to get than the first property. The first property, you tend to have a lot more options, availability, and access to things that after that, when you then transfer over from those owner-occupied property into your investment strategies, that they just look a little bit different. So with Krista, we really needed to be able to put together what that plan looked like on what she needed to be able to do to enter a little bit more of this creative financing world. So Krista and I actually worked one-to-one together over about a 3-month period of time. And what was great there was that every week we were able to think about homework. We were able to have accountability for what she was doing and really kind of walk through the different steps of what she needed. What was great within this is some of the options that we gave her, she actually ended up in contract through one of the options that we had talked about on a multifamily. That was going to be fantastic. So that was really nice to be able to see. There were also those opportunities of looking into and evaluating what was the best way to grow that portfolio. Did going and looking for off-market properties where we could do seller financing make sense? Did bringing in a private lender maybe be the best option for Krista? Or was it maybe the idea of saying, hey, how else can we leverage some properties that we already have? And what does maybe the idea of purchasing some turnkey properties look like? All of those different strategies are out there. And that's actually my favorite thing about real estate investing, is that there is a solution to all of the problems that you have within your portfolio right now. All we have to do is be able to figure out and how to identify what the problem is and know what it is that's holding you back. And then all we have to do is simply just match it with the solution to the problem. Because I'm telling you today that there absolutely is a solution for every problem within real estate investing. So I hope you'll go and take a listen to some of those episodes and some of just a few of the success stories that we've had within the Lady Landlords community. We have so many more there, and I'm always looking to hear from you. So please do feel free to reach out. My email is down in the show notes, or you can always message me within the Facebook group. If you have been helped within the Lady Landlords community, I would love to be able to highlight you and give you your own member spotlight. So feel free to please reach out and let me know if you would be willing to share your story of success with our community. And do remember, success is something that just means that you can possibly provide one little piece of nugget of information and provide some value to somebody else. I am not looking for the people that have huge 1,000-unit, blah, blah, blah portfolios. That's not what we're talking about here. I want to hear from the women that were able to get their first properties, that were able to get their second, that were able to do their flips, that were able to make a plan. All of those things are just so inspirational to our community. So I would always love to hear from you. Lastly, if you are ever looking for help making sure that you are putting your best foot forward and picking the right strategy for you, please do consider the Lady Landlords Roadmap Workshop. I will make sure to also put the link down in the show notes for that. And just know that I am always here to support you within your journey, as all of our other members are as well. One woman at a time, we will be able to help everyone. Thank you so much. Please do make sure to subscribe to this episode, whether you listen to our podcast or if you listen to us on YouTube, so you do not miss next week's episode of the Lady Landlords podcast. Thanks so much, and see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're feeling stuck in your real estate journey, visit lady-landlords.com/roadmap to book a one-on-one workshop with me. I'll help you determine your next best strategy. Or you can subscribe to our newsletter for exclusive tips and offers. Invest with confidence. Become a Lady Landlord today.